It's week 6, and things are heating up in the Big Easy. Saints return home to the Caesars Superdome, fresh off their first win of the season. The aim is to keep the momentum going as they prepare for an interconference showdown against the New England Patriots. The Saints defense looks to keep the pressure on against the Patriots squad riding high after a big win over the Buffalo Bills last week. The stage is set, the lights are bright, the team is hyped up to protect their home turf. Welcome in. It is Saints Game Day Live here at NewOrleansSaints.com. Thank you for joining us, along with Saints Super Bowl champion, former linebacker Scott Shanley. I'm Stan Verrett. All right, here we go, Scott. Our first show after a win this season.
Feels good, doesn't it? It feels really good.
Feels really good. Patriots coming in at 3-2. Saints at 1-4, coming off that win over the Giants last week. Patriots handed the Bills their first loss of the season last week. These teams very similar, both in rebuilding mode with first-year coaches for their franchises and second-year quarterbacks. The Patriots with Mike Vrabel and Drake May. The Saints, of course, with Kellen Moore and Spencer Rattler. Let's start with May as we look at our matchups to watch. May against the Saints defense.
Yeah, I think Drake May is one of the best kept secrets in the league right now. I mean, he's a high draft pick, but there's a lot of people who hold Mitchell Trubisky kind of failing as a North Carolina alum against Drake May. I'm guilty of it until you do a deep dive and how well this kid's been playing. He's been doing outstanding. He is leading the league. He's the only quarterback in the league to have a 100-plus rating in every game so far this year, and he leads the league on 3rd and 4th down, completing 75% of his throws. So he's playing his best football when it's needed most in crunch time on 3rd and 4th down. So he's doing an outstanding job, and I think Coach Vrabel was the right guy to be his leadership as far as being a franchise quarterback. He's been playing really good football.
May, 74% of his passes. He's got 7 touchdowns against 2 interceptions, 5th in the NFL in passing yards, and the Saints 28th in opposing passer rating. So the pass defense is going to have to step it up against this guy today.
And I think the way the Saints pass defense played last week is encouraging going against this passing attack, because they do have weapons. Diggs played great last week. Hunter Henry's a dynamic player at tight end. So they have players who he can get the ball to out there in space. But I think for me, the Saints secondary will be helped by the Saints pass rush. If the Saints pass rush can come alive today, because the left side of the Patriots offensive line is 2 rookies. Now, Will Campbell's an outstanding rookie player. Also, high draft pick. He's going to be a great tackle in the league. But nonetheless, there's 2 rookies on that left side. I look for the Saints to take advantage of the left side of the offensive line of the Patriots.
And we're going to see Chase Young for the first time to help out with that pass rush. So Granderson and Cam Jordan have been taking a lot of snaps, a lot of reps. Chris Rumpf has been working in there too. But how much does it help having Chase Young back?
I mean, they signed that guy for a reason. You know, in the offseason, Chase is he's a young man. He's got 10 years of play in front of him in this league, so he can be a great pass rusher in this league. I'm excited to see Chase in this Brandon Staley defense, standing up as an outside linebacker. I think Carl and both Cam have done an outstanding job, but it never hurts to have guys that you can shuffle in and keep guys fresh. And when you keep guys fresh in the pass rush, and it'll be interesting. Will they bring Chase back? Will he play 70 plays? Will he be on a pitch count today? Because with a calf injury, you got to be careful with him. I think he's given enough time to be 100% healthy, and I think Chase will play a big part in this pass rush today.
And we could see some lineups where you put all your pass rushers in.
NASCAR. NASCAR.
Exactly.
Yes. I was telling you last week, when you see that NASCAR package come in on 3rd down, that NASCAR package means we're taking all those big D tackles who like to stop the run. They're out. We're going to put all the fast D ends in, and offensive lines, you can see the sweat dripping down their face when they see the NASCAR package come in.
All right. Stefon Diggs coming off a couple of 100-yard games the last couple of weeks. He's the guy that May looks for whenever he gets in trouble. When he rolls out of the pocket, he's trying to find Diggs. Saints have to stay on him until the whistle blows.
Yeah, and it's how do you defend Stefon Diggs? I think Diggs, everybody thinks that his best years were behind him until last week against the Bills. Primetime game, I mean, he tore the Bills up. So you have to keep a guy, if you're going to play zone, you want to keep a guy underneath and over the top of Diggs. He's still a dynamic playmaker. He proved that last week. I'm interested to see, does Coach Staley match up Kool-Aid on him? Does he shadow him? I don't know if that's a big part of his defense or not, but I think Stefon Diggs reminded the league last week against the Bills in a primetime spot. I'm still an elite player in this league, and you got to watch out for me.
10 catches, 146 yards for Diggs last week. He was coming off that ACL injury, and they sort of eased him in, and then, as you said, last week was his breakout week
And he had a little payback, too, on his line last week.
In Buffalo, team he played for. But Kool-Aid McKinstry, last week, the 2 interceptions, that's got to be a tremendous confidence boost for him. NFC Defensive Player of the Week.
It's a huge confidence boost for not only Kool-Aid, because he's still a young player. Second year in the league, high expectations because of where he was drafted. Marshawn Lattimore was shipped out to Washington because Kool-Aid's the next man up. And so you want to see him start making those plays, and he definitely made those plays last week. So I think it's a huge confidence booster to Kool-Aid that he can play in this league, but also the organization. Like, this is the next man up. This is we truly have a lockdown corner if he continues to progress like he has.
All right, let's talk about the Saints passing game versus the Patriots secondary when the Saints have the ball. The weakness of their defense for New England is their pass coverage. Better against the run than the pass.
Absolutely, and I think part of that is Vrabel, he wants a defense that bloodies you at the line of scrimmage. They're going to try to stop the run, put everything in the box, bring that safety out of the middle of the field, and you're going to have to beat them in the passing game. And teams have. They're 29th in pass defense in the league, which isn't great. A lot of today's passing game for the Saints is going to be determined by Christian Gonzalez, their star corner. Whether or not that hamstring injury is a problem. If that hamstring injury is a problem for him, Rashid Shaheed should have a field day going deep on this Patriots secondary.
Gonzalez, they said they would make a decision about him about 90 minutes before kickoff, so we're already inside that window. So game time decision for Gonzalez. He's their number 1 cover guy. So whether they put him on Olave or Shaheed, not having him there, it could be a big boost for the Saints passing game. Kellen Moore talked this week about the red zone, about being more efficient in the red zone. 7 for 17 so far in the red zone this season. He said first and second downs in the red zone are the key. Why?
Just staying ahead of those chains and running the football. The Saints have been really good in the NFL. They're ranked in the top 5 in the league as far as running the ball in the red zone. And if you can run the ball successfully in first down and get into 2nd and 7, get into 3rd and 4, those are good down and distances when that field compresses down there. Now it's just about completing the job, getting 7 points. You can get down there 2 times and kick 2 field goals. 6 points is a big difference from 14 points. So you see time and time again in this league, there aren't that many plays. Teams are you're getting 60 to 70 plays a chance to score in this league. And so when you get down there, the teams that kick field goals are the teams that have a hard time winning and get into those dogfights all 4 quarters.
Kellen Moore popularized the tush push when he was with the Eagles. Taysom Hill at times has been a one-man tush push, and he's a great red zone threat down there. As he gets back into the flow now, could he be one of the solutions in the red zone?
Absolutely. I think last week Taysom they were knocking the rust off him a little bit. And I think it was a good week. The first play he went in there, he was a lead blocker, kind of shook his leg out a little bit like, I can do this. And you can see the confidence grow in Taysom. He is the ultimate X factor in the red zone. He has been. Really, the last 4 years in this league, doesn't matter who the coach is, what the scheme is, Taysom Hill on the field in the red zone is a problem for defenses.
And if he gets in that tight end, another thing to remember, Dalton Kincaid for the Bills last week had his first 100-yard game. So they have some susceptibility in covering tight ends. So maybe Jawan Johnson, Foster Moreau back. Maybe we see Taysom at some tight end today. So something else to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, Aaron Summers spoke with Coach Kellen Moore leading up to today's game against the Patriots. Here's their conversation.
Here this week.
I think we've had a really good week. Obviously, hopefully some momentum carries going from last week into this week. This will be a really good team. They're playing really good football right now, and it'll be a fun battle.
You've emphasized takeaways in practice every week. How much does it validate things that you're doing in practice when you see 5 takeaways in a game?
Defense doing an excellent job. Obviously, they've been close for a number of weeks now, and it was really good to see them get to that moment where they take advantage of it.
A lot of people getting their first this past weekend, first win, first touchdown, first interception. What does that tell you about the young core that you have here and what you're building?
The young guys are growing each and every day, and they're going through these experiences and getting better. And a lot of guys are progressing in the right direction.
With somebody like Taysom Hill, what is the process of figuring out the best way to utilize him and continuing to add to his plate as he gets back on the field?
It's a fun opportunity for our entire team. Taysom can do a lot of different things. He stresses the opponent in a lot of different ways just because he can do so much. His ability to play quarterback certainly is valuable, but his ability to play in all these other positions, and we'll continue to do it from game plan to game plan, and especially while he ramps up coming off of this injury.
Looking at the Patriots, they're coming off a big win. They're led by second-year quarterback Drake May. What do you need to do to maybe limit his momentum coming in here?
I think a lot of it comes down to being really good in first and second down football, putting them in challenging third down situations. They've ran the ball pretty well. They've been very good at protecting the football. And so, we got to stress them as many ways as we can.
How much does that mean figuring out where wide receiver Stefon Diggs is at all times?
Obviously he's the main guy. He's the engine of the whole passing game. He's doing an excellent job. Last game was phenomenal against Buffalo. He played a phenomenal game, and so we got to know where he's at and know what could be coming.
Defensively, top 5 against the run, Patriots defense, but they do allow 26 most passing yards. We're going to see some more explosive plays. We're going to attack them in that area or what?
Certainly everyone wants the explosive plays, and we'll see how this thing progresses. Obviously, we'll try and find them as we go, and hopefully we can find a few more than we have the last few weeks. They've been excellent against the run. They do a great job of team defense as far as stopping the run, and so there'll be some fun challenges for us to overcome.
How much do you change your offensive game plan based on those numbers?
You just have to be aware of it. Obviously, every game plan is going to have the ability to play balance, and you got to be able to shift gears as games progress based off who your opponent is. And so we'll see how this thing goes.
All right, let's go ahead and get another win in the Dome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have another special guest this week. Saints Super Bowl champion, former wide receiver for the Saints, Lance Moore, or as we like to call him, El Meezy, back in the building. Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. Great to be back, man.
So what do you feel when you come back?
So much is different.
Yeah.
But so much to me has remained the same as far as the people, the feeling that you get when you're walking around the city. The energy is there. Obviously, coming off a win last week, it's an exciting time. A lot more exciting than the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
right.
No doubt. I always Lance. Well, I laugh when I see Lance because our wide receiver room, when Lance was there, we had Quiet Storm Colston, never talked. Deborah Henderson, never talked.
Right.
Then you had Lance Moore out there dancing, spatted up with red and green. Like Lance was the true wide receiver, prima donna type guy that you see around the league now. Are you jealous of the way the league has gone now? Like, remember, when we played, if the socks were too low, you were getting fined. Like, these guys now can do whatever they want swag-wise. They can dance, they can celebrate. You were before this time.
I was ahead of my time. But look, I love it for them.
Yeah.
I hate it that I was the age that I am.
I feel you,
Well, even like the celebrations, right? Like, you can choreograph a group celebration.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that. I got fined thousands of dollars for doing crazy celebrations in my time in the league. So I love to see how the game has changed, where it's come, and it makes it more fun for the fans.
Absolutely. Entertainment,
You played with Kellen Moore briefly in Detroit, but you said you kind of got a sense that he had what it took to be a head coach in this league. What did you see from him that made you feel that way?
Just super smart. I mean, he's even though he wasn't playing, right? Stafford was the starting quarterback.
Yep.
Kellen felt like another coach on the field.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't in the huddle with him a ton of times, I could see him orchestrating things, talking to the guys, getting guys lined up.
Yeah.
And you, from such a young player back then, I mean, I think he was in his second or third year at that time, you kind of notice, like, this guy might have what it takes to be a great coach someday. And I think we're starting to see the semblance of that as this thing goes along. And we haven't looked terrible in all but one game.
Right.
Just one game, and that's okay, in my opinion. We're trying to grow.
Yeah. Yep. And I agree with him. A lot of times you see backup quarterbacks, and they're an extension of the coaching staff because they're not going to play in front of, you're not going to play in front of Stafford, but they're learning the game the same way. And I think it was exciting for me when they hired Kellen because we're breaking in a new quarterback. Yep. If there's anybody you want to learn from, it's a guy who just went to the Super Bowl and won a championship. But I got to ask you about this wide receiver group the Saints have. I think, to me, this wide receiver group the Saints put on the field every week is as talented as we've had since you guys ran the field. I mean, you got Olave, you got Shaheed, Speed. They all have different things they can do to stress a defense. What do you see in this group when you watch them play?
Well, first of all, the speed stands out. First of all, all these guys can run, but to me, I almost feel like Kellen is kind of pulled the reins in a little bit on them early in the season.
Yep.
We saw a little bit last week with Rashid's long touchdown. I think
this place was electric.
We need to see more of that.
Yep.
And I talked about it earlier this week. It's not just those downfield shots. It's the catch and run balls.
Yeah.
These guys can make things happen. They're so fast and dynamic. Being able to get these guys serviceable ball that they can just catch and take off on. Like, I need to see more of that from this group. But as this offense grows and the quarterback grows, I think we'll see more of it.
No sacks last week, so that's a positive sign in terms of giving Kellen Moore the trust in the offensive line to have time to develop those plays downfield. What have you seen from Spencer Rattler so far?
To me, I've been impressed. He has not played losing football at all, in my opinion. He's
taken turnovers.
He's taken great care of the football. He's making smart decisions. Sometimes I feel like he's a little gun shy, and I understand that, and it takes a little bit of time for some of the quarterbacks. NFL open is not college football open, right? Like, it's just, there's not going to be great separation on every single throw, and sometimes you got to trust your guys to be able to go and make plays for you, and I think they'll continue to develop that as the season goes along. But to me, he's shown why he's the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, and I think he'll continue to get better as the season goes.
Yeah, there's no doubt, because the fastest way to lose your job in this league is turn the football over.
Yep.
And so he's doing a good job of taking care of the football, and now it's just being about making those vertical plays and being a little bit more aggressive in the offense. Speaking of jobs, currently this guy is an NFL agent, so he's in the media. He's a player to the media, and now he's representing players. What's that transition been like from player to agent?
Honestly, the transition has been slow, but it's a learning experience for me, because the kids, I came out 20 years ago to the NFL.
Wow.
The generation of player is just different. The person is different. So trying to get these kids, on the phone is insane.
You text them. Or get them on the gram.
It's all on the gram. It's everything. It's Snapchat. It's like any way that
we sound like the old guys on the porch right now.
That's seriously. That's how it is. You have to meet them where they are, and you have to be able to communicate in the way that they communicate. But I love it. To me, it's a passion thing. I love being a mentor and trying to help these guys have a better experience based off of the things that I've been through.
No doubt.
The do's, the don'ts. The changing teams, being cut, practice squad. All the things that these guys could potentially go through, I've been through, and it's fun.
It's a rewarding feeling to prep guys and give them an opportunity to. It's as simple as saying, do you understand what a schedule is going to be like in the NFL?
Right.
It's not going to be like college where you meet for 2 hours. A lot of you guys don't understand what the profession is like. So if you can just give them a heads up as far as that, you give them a chance.
For sure. And that's what I lean on my experience to try to help them be better prepared. Now, obviously, I can't sit in the meeting rooms with them. I can't make any of the plays anymore. Maybe. It's fun to be able to be there for these guys and just be in their corner. We all had agents when we played, right? But it's different to have an agent that actually played as well. I wore a helmet and I played for a long time, so I have a little bit different perspective than most agents do.
You mentioned the young guys. We saw a lot of those guys take a big step last week. All the big plays pretty much came from the young guys, whether it was Spencer Rattler, Rashid Shaheed, Jordan Howden, Kool-Aid, Brian Bresee. What do you see when you see the way the Saints are building this roster right now?
Well, that means that they've gotten some decisions right here recently. That's an exciting thing. And as a team that's essentially in a rebuild, even though you probably won't hear that word come out of the building, having young players contributing in a major way gives you a very good sense of positivity about the direction of where this organization is headed. It might not happen overnight, and I'll be the first to tell you it's not happening overnight, right? There's a lot of things that will look different when we're sitting here a year from now. But to see the young guys stepping up and making plays, that's exactly what you want from your organization, especially when you know there will be changes coming soon.
Hey, man, great to see you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you, guys.
One of those young players who contributed last week, Jordan Howden, had that big fumble recovery for a touchdown that set the building off last week. Jordan spoke with Aaron Summers in our What's Brewing Player Spotlight, brought to you by Community Coffee.
Welcome into What's Brewing with Safety Jordan Howden. It's presented by Community Coffee. I'm Aaron Summers. Jordan, you got thrown into an elevated role this past game because of injury, but what about your preparation this year made you ready for that moment?
I think that does come with being with Jay Reed and like the coaches and stuff like that. We always talk about, even though you're not starting or playing whatever, you always got to be ready because you never know what might happen on the field. So just talking with Jay Reed and stuff, we always go over the coverages and the notes and stuff. Okay, what are we looking for? And come to find out, he had to go down and had to step in, and that's why it's important for everybody to know what you got going on, know the game plan, because you never know when it's your time. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. So it's just not just me, it's everybody that's in the room, just making sure we know what we're doing.
You jumped on an opportunity when you saw a ball get loose. You scooped it up, ran it all the way into the end zone for the score. Electric play. What was going through your mind?
Honestly, first it's just shout out to Breezy, getting the ball out, but you just meet everybody doing their job, and for me to just be right there when the ball just came out, and for me to pick it up and run, I was just don't get caught. It was the fourth quarter. It was a long drive anyway. Just basically just don't get caught, and this is gonna be my first NFL touchdown. So that was probably the biggest thing that was going through my head at the time. But yeah, it was a pretty cool experience.
I've seen you trade jerseys with players after games. You did so with Bill's player that you played high school with.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're going to get the game ball or the ball for the touchdown here. First interception last year. So what's been your favorite piece of memorabilia so far?
I mean, now that happened, that's definitely be the first NFL touchdown. I mean, like, your first pick is cool, but first NFL touchdown, you know, that's a big deal, especially playing on defense. You know, you don't get a lot of those, a lot of TDs. So I feel like that's a big thing for me. But, like, you know, everything is pretty big. You know, you play with people that you play with when you're young and seeing everybody live their dream. And like you say, you get to swap jerseys with people that you've known. So that's a pretty cool thing to do, especially in this job that we do. Yeah.
All right, coming up against the Patriots, quarterback Drake May coming off a big win last week over the Bills. What do you guys have to do to have the same kind of a success and kind of like squell their momentum?
You know, just watching the film and like just watching their game from last week. You know, they're a really good team overall. Drake May, you can see the difference between him from his first year and his second year. You know, you got Stefon Diggs, vet guy, very good receiver. You got Henry, you know, big tight end. Honestly, we just got to go out there and just play us, do like just basically just run the scheme that we're supposed to be going on for that week. Just play fast, play physical, and just do what we're supposed to do on the field. I feel like that's the biggest thing. You know, we also got to watch out for Drake May for scrambling. I feel like that's a big thing. He uses his leg now. Yeah, and I feel like that's the biggest thing right there.
All right, well, we're going to stack some wins this weekend, get win number 2 in the Superdome against the Patriots. This has been What's Brewing with Jordan Howden. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you.
So Jordan Howden, a big part of that winning effort last week. Scott, as we look into the recipe for success for this week, I think it starts with building on last week.
Yeah.
When you see all those young guys that we talked about with Lance, they contributed all the big plays. As a player, what does that do for your confidence the next time you go out, knowing, hey, what we're doing is working?
Yeah, I mean, it's just building blocks into the evolution of all these guys want to play 8, 9, 10 years in the league. There's a reason that only a handful can make it that far. But I think the building blocks of having early success as a young player, proving to yourself that you can make the plays and doing your job every single play, that's the hardest thing. Is a lot of times you want to go outside the scheme and do things to help your team win, and then you give up plays. So it's about just doing your job, and when your moment is presented to make a play, to make that play. And I think what you've seen is the young guys on this team last week stepped up, taking the ball away 5 times. You're going to win a lot of NFL games if you continue that, and that's a huge part of continuing the momentum.
5 turnovers on 5 straight possessions. I can't remember the last time I saw that NFL game. I may have never seen that in an NFL game before.
I mean, you win the turnover takeaway margin by 5. That's like a 99.9% chance of winning an NFL game. I think when you're +1 or +2, you're up to 75-80% chance of winning an NFL game. So continue to take the football away, give your offense a short field, make some plays in the special teams game, and now your offense can continue to run the ball first.
Yep, Saints were even in turnover margin coming into the game last week. Now they're at +5 for the season. Next, another thing we talked about, Kool-Aid McKinstry on Stefon Diggs. I mean, that matchup could decide this game.
Absolutely, it could, especially the way Stefon played last week. He got everybody's attention. Hey, the Patriots got everybody's attention.
Yeah.
You know, I know the Saints took the Bills toe-to-toe, had a chance to beat them as well up there, but the Bills on prime time fell to the Patriots at home. So it's going to come down to knowing what the Patriots like to do. It's going to be Hunter Henry if you're a safety or linebacker, and then outside you have to find a way to contain Diggs. And so I'm interested to see. I would love to see Kool-Aid shadow, Stefon a little bit more, because they're going to move him around. They move him around in motion, slot, left side, right side. Let Kool-Aid match up against him, because I think he's earned that right.
So you like a one-on-one man coverage rather than a team approach to dealing with Diggs?
Well, and I say it's going to be interesting to see if they do that, because I know Coach Staley's much more of a zone defensive coordinator, and it's hard to shadow. And I know a lot of premier defensive backs in the league, they want to shadow guys, because that's how you tell everybody, I'm the man, I'm that guy. But it's hard to do if you play a lot of zone, because when you move guys around, now you're playing with linebackers zone drops, you're messing with the safety zone drops. But when you're a true man-to-man team, you can shadow a lot more. But I think Kool-Aid, when they do go man, I think he's earned that right to shadow a guy like Diggs.
All right, meanwhile, when the Saints have the ball, they're averaging 18 points per game. That's a full touchdown less than the Patriots, who come in at 25 points per game. So they may have to score some to win in this game, and that means opening up the offense. Do you feel like last week kind of gave them a little bit more confidence?
Oh, no doubt. And I think everybody said it. Anybody who was in the dome, seeing it on TV didn't do it justice. Seeing that deep shot to Shaheed. Goosebumps. It felt like old times. People were standing up in their seats. That's the energy. I think, to me, last week, besides the takeaways, it was that play that changed the game. You could feel the energy go to the entire team, to the sideline. That deep shot to Shaheed, that's what he does best. So I look for Coach Moore to be a little more aggressive week by week, but he knows step one is give Spencer confidence. Don't make him make plays that he doesn't have to. Don't turn the football over. But I think that play right there will be a reason why you see some more deep shots today, because that confidence, you have to prove as a player that you can do it. And I think they proved to Coach Moore last week, we can do this if you call it.
Yep. The other thing is health. I mean, you think about this time last year, the roster was just decimated by injuries. And now, the injuries that we saw early in the season, those guys are all coming back now and pretty much a full lineup for today.
Yeah, I mean, you put this team on paper, and let's just look at the NFC South. Don't even worry about the entire NFL. Don't get caught up in that, but your goal is to win the division. You want to win the NFC South. You put this Saints roster next to everybody else's roster, there's a lot of position groups you would take over other teams in this division. So this team is staying extremely healthy, more healthy than they've been really the last two seasons. And if they can continue to do that, especially the offensive line has to become the strength of this team. And last week they did that. They're on their way to becoming the strength of this team. Run the football, stay ahead of the chains, take shots when you can. Don't throw the ball if you don't have to.
Right.
And that's a huge advantage in the league.
0 sacks given up by the offensive line last week. Take a look at the inactives. Ugo Amadi, Rajon Wright, Isaac Yiadom, Torricelli Simpkins, Xavier Truss, and Christian Boyd. Simpkins jumps out at me there because he's provided some quality depth for the offensive line.
Yeah, he's done a really good job as a young player stepping in, playing different positions. You saw him in the preseason. He's got a nasty streak about him as far as playing in the trenches, and it's going to be a trench game today. Coach Vrabel's defense and his offense, they're going to say, let's get black and blue at the line of scrimmage. Let's bloody some noses, and so that's where the game's going to be won and lost. So having Simpkins inactive today kind of hurts because of his versatility as well.
But what does that tell you about Cesar Ruiz?
That tells me he's back, and it's tough. Those ankle sprains, you tape them up, you take a couple weeks off, and then you can go. But he's definitely going to have to prove that he can anchor there in the middle line because, like I said, Vrabel's defenses usually have big D tackles, big nose guards. Back when he played Vince Wilfork, so there's going to be some big bodies he's going to have to push on with that ankle.
And a notable name not on the injury list that has been there, we touched on it earlier, Chase Young. Yeah. I mean, if the defense can get after May, get him on the ground a couple of times, get the crowd back into it the way they were last week.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And that's how we talked. I know May is not a rookie quarterback like Jackson Dart, but you saw Jackson Dart. He plays much better at home in the comfy confines of the home stadium than he did last week in the Dome. I think the same way. Drake May's still a young quarterback. Get after him early, bring some pressure, hit him, and that disrupts his timing in the passing game. I think you have great success if you can get after him and knock him down a couple times early.
Chris Collinsworth may have done us all a favor. Last week he kept pointing out the fact that when May rolls out, he almost always rolls out to his right. And he's looking for Diggs, who rolls with him that way. So hopefully the Saints were watching Sunday Night Football again against the Bills.
Rolling away from those two left guard and left tackle rookie guys, getting away from them. Talented players, but they're still rookies. So I think the Saints take advantage of that left side of the Patriots line.
All right, we'll see if the Saints can make it 2 in a row. Taking on the Patriots just about a half hour from now. We appreciate you joining us for Game Day Live. Make sure you join Aaron and Scott after the game for the post-game show here on NewOrleansSaints.com. All right, we'll see you next week from We're Saints Game Day Live. Enjoy the game. We'll see you back here post-game as well.